Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our cup of tea with I am Satara Murray, and this is my homie Harlie Ford, and we have
Hello.
we have some tea tonight. We
Oh,
got that.
boy.
We have that tea. We have that piping hot Earl Grey type of tea. No, I'm kidding.
You're an Earl Grey. I'm more of a English breakfast myself.
Actually, I'm not either. My mom's an English breakfast. I was going to say that. I don't know why I said Earl Grey. Anyway, we have some stuff. We're gonna cover. I'll do a little recap of the NWSL Challenge Cup. It started last week. For those that don't know, started last Friday, the 9th, I want to say. And I know a whole week has gone by, and there were some things that transpired that we'll get into. And then, we'll get into that. But first things first, Harlie, how was your week?
Oh boy. My week has been absolutely wild.
Yeah.
So I was able to start my practices with Unity FC this week, which I'm representing. I'm doing it tonight. My parents will be happy. So that was a blast. We've had a bunch of new players come out, which was really, really rewarding to see. I've been with the team for a while now, and to see like fresh faces coming out who are always so excited. It's just really lovely. We had a new player, and I think she said something like, "Man, I think I really like this team," which is like, wow, thanks. We've worked hard to make it likable, so thank you. I've also got my first round of my COVID vaccine, so halfway there to like being free of this virus, hopefully.
Oh, let's go. Good.
And also, as always, I've been dog sitting like crazy every night. I'm continuing the theme of never being in the same place for an episode. So here I am again. I'm dog sitting Lola, who's off to the side being very respectful. And that's been my week so far.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, you are literally never in the same place when we have episodes. So
no.
That could be your trademark thing. Like, I'm never in the same spot. I love that. And I don't know if the audience has noticed, but like I've gone from that plain white wall to now you can kind of see my living room. So I've actually changed positions a little bit. My week wasn't as crazy as yours. I'm just doing my thing with Black Arrow. We're making some moves. I'm really excited for the future. And I had to get my window tinted today because my car got broken into a few weeks ago in Houston. I went to go get my braces off, and I came downstairs to seeing my car broken into. So I got a new window. I got a new window the day that it happened. So I didn't drive back to Austin with like a broken window. I got it. And then, but of course, new windows don't have tint. And I love tint on my car because I don't want anybody looking into my car. So that's what I got done today. So that's been my week, summed up in a nutshell. But
yeah. Oh, hold on, Satara. I'm getting breaking news in. People can't hear me. So hold on.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna try and fix something. Listen, we do this thing live. I try to set up, be all professional stuff. I got a light and a speaker, but I'm gonna try something. Hold on. Let me know if this is better. Thank you very much. Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me? We're gonna hear back from the audience. We'll see if they can hear me now. I don't know. It's always a problem.
I hope you. I heard you perfectly fine. So.
Yeah, hold on. Let me try one more thing, actually.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Thank you, everybody, for watching. You get to be live and part of the production studio tonight. It's very exciting.
So did they not hear your crazy story, your crazy week? I hope they did.
I hope they did. All right. What about now? Can you hear me still?
I can hear you. Again.
You can hear me? Can anybody else hear me?
Can anybody else hear Harlie?
Oh, man. By the way, the audience member is my dad. So thank you.
Oh my God. Amazing.
Thank you for chiming in. This is what I'm getting. Lots of feedback and background noise. Can't hear you. Terrible echo. The reviews are in. Harlie's not doing a good job tonight.
Oh my God. I hope we can hear you now. I don't know. I heard you perfectly fine.
He's saying it's garbled.
Is it his connection?
He just apologized to me.
I can really hear you perfectly fine. So
okay, let's just I'm just gonna keep rolling. Maybe it'll improve with time. We'll see.
Hopefully. Well, I hope your father heard your crazy week.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah, I hope anyway. So speaking of crazy weeks and crazy times, so a little bit of a recap with the NWSL Challenge Cup. So it started last Friday. First two games were Houston versus Chicago and Portland versus KC. And then the games on Saturday were Washington, North Carolina, Racing, Louisville, and Orlando. And I don't know. Did you watch? Did you get a chance to watch any of the games?
So yeah, I've been following them and stuff. I followed the Racing Louisville versus Orlando Pride game because
Yeah.
Orlando Pride, I'm supposed to, cheer for them or something. But it was really cool to see Racing Louisville get that tie against them. We were talking about this before we started the show. That Racing Louisville has fostered such a culture of like camaraderie and building the team spirit. And although they haven't done so well against the Washington Spirit, like they took that L, but it was only like a 1-0 loss. It's not like something to be particularly ashamed about or anything. So no, I've really appreciated their effort, and I really wish my own like home team was putting in the work that would be expected of a team that's been around for a while. So
yeah, no, definitely, and I like what you touched on with the atmosphere that Racing Louisville is starting to create. To be quite honest with you, because so the girl that scored that made history, she's actually one of my best friends that I played with in Houston. Shout out to DC. I almost butchered her name. I actually spoke to her after the game, and just to express how excited I was for her to score that goal, but also kind of get some feedback on like what the culture is like for racing and seeing kind of like what that environment is like. And she loves it. She says that it's a really good group of girls and everything in it that you just touched on in regards to this environment that they're creating. I think you'll see that very much implemented in the way that they play and getting results. Obviously, the first two games, I expect nothing. I don't really expect anything more. It's their first like real competitive game, first time in history that they're playing. I think it was, I think aside from the results, I think they're going to be a team to be, quite concerned, quite to a force to be reckoned with in years to come, especially if they keep that core group of girls, So it was really exciting. It was really exciting seeing them. So going back to Houston and Chicago, Portland and KC, Harlie, there was some drama. There was some drama there. I want to touch on the Houston and Chicago game first. I was really excited to see this game because one, it was a rematch of the final of the Challenge Cup last year. So I was really kind of excited to see how that game was going to play out. Obviously, it was ended up in a 0-0 draw, so there wasn't too much going on there. But it's what happened after the game that is a bit tricky. Yeah, I don't know. I let's break it down for the audience members who have no idea what the heck is going on. So Sarah Gordon put out a statement after the game against Houston. Sarah plays for Chicago, for those that don't know, and she put out a statement after the game last Friday and said that her boyfriend and her were racially profiled and harassed by a security guard at Houston's stadium, the BBVA stadium. And yeah, it kind of just got a bit chaotic from there. And I think the initial response from Houston was subpar. I don't even know. It was completely tone deaf, in my opinion. And just like the response in the league from the organization, I just think was really poor. And
absolutely, it was terrible.
Yeah. to put it blatantly. Yeah. And I just think that there's so much to be discussed in this topic, and Sarah broke it down. She said that her boyfriend, who was black, came and watched her play, and she saw a bunch of the Houston Dash players who were white, conversing with their family members, friends, whatever the case may be. and the security guard came and only spoke to her and her boyfriend. And when she asked the security guard, what about those girls down there? He told them that he was going to get to them and never did, and then threatened to arrest her boyfriend if he didn't, I guess, get out of the stadium, whatever the case may be. I just think this is crazy. Harlie, it's crazy. I've been trying to take all weekend to digest it and to really internalize what it is that I'm trying to express or trying to understand. But this whole situation, in my opinion, is just bizarre. And this is exactly this is like the issue that we have when Black women tell you that they are experiencing something, they went through something, believe them. Period.
Right.
We don't have a reason to lie. We don't have a reason to make up these fake stories. When we say we've gone through something, please believe us, because we don't have a reason to lie. And I just think that I don't know. I have a lot to say about it. I don't want to be overly emotional with it, but I just feel like this is like, especially with like the circumstances and the magnitude of what's going on in America right now, like this is wild.
Absolutely. And this is something, we did touch on this a little bit, and I hope that the people who are watching and have been watching understand that we don't come from a place of just like pure ignorance or anger. Everything that we say, we try to do it with at least some amount of knowledge and respect, and, working towards constructive criticism rather than just, saying like anything that we want. So when we talk about the issues that players are facing, when Sarah Gordon says that she was racially profiled, why is it the first reaction of an organization to A, not acknowledge that player in the slightest, and then also B, put out a statement saying that it was entirely based on COVID protocols? Yeah, of course, we all know there's a pandemic. We are aware there is a pandemic existing.
We've been dealing with the pandemic for a year now. Okay, everybody knows the protocol.
We're aware of that, but Sarah Gordon experienced what I consider a great injustice, and it was swept under the rug in many regards. So, in that way, as a professional organization, as the NWSL, tries to push forward women and push forward like Black players, I see them posting things about, Black Lives Matter and supporting Black History Month, but then to not actively support your Black players, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem that I have, because there was such a conversation that started, especially with the Challenge Cup from last year. The fact that the league gave the girls pretty much that freedom to express themselves by kneeling and taking a stance and wearing the shirts and everything. I really thought, they were moving in the right direction. And then this is really a case of like actions speak a lot louder than words. And this is a prime example of, yeah, you say one thing, but then, like you said, just not the backing of one of your Black players. And I just think that the whole situation, and then to circle back to Houston's initial response, and I read the statement and I'm thinking, what in the hell? Because this isn't, I don't get it. Houston is a super diverse city. There's so many different cultures and backgrounds in that city alone. It's made up of so many different people. So literally, it's like a melting pot. And so to see an organization like the Dash respond the way that they did, it just it's like a slap in the face, you know what I mean? And the fact is that the response didn't address the issue itself, right? It's talking about protocol this and protocol that. Listen, we've been in this freaking pandemic for well over a year now. Like, this has nothing to do. This situation that happened with Sarah and her boyfriend had nothing to do with protocol. It had nothing to do with protocol, but everything to do with racial profiling and whatever else it may have been. So I just think that the initial statement was completely tone deaf and it completely missed the point. And then the second one that they brought out was much better. But then here's what I love was the player statement. I mean, the player statement was absolutely spot on. They held themselves accountable. They called, they named Sarah by her name. They stood with her. They held the security guard at their stadium accountable. They're calling out the people that they're supposed to, and they did. And And I think that is one of the biggest issues that we have with these social injustices is accountability, right? Nobody wants to say, oh, like we're racist or yada yada, or we don't support. Nobody wants to ever admit that, out loud. So instead of really like holding yourself accountable and really, looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, listen, what can we do as an organization, as a group, whatever, to make this right? It's like passing off responsibility. Oh, let's blame it on the fact that these girls broke protocol and they did something that they weren't supposed to do. Okay, nobody gives a shit about that. We care about the fact that here the player is telling you that her and her boyfriend were racially profiled and harassed by a security guard working at your stadium. What are you going to do about it? Period. No ifs, ands, or but about it. What are you going to do about it? Right. And so I just think that, I think missing the point for the first time was just like a slap in the face, and then the players then putting it on their backs and putting it on their shoulders to take responsibility. It's just like, why are they doing this? Houston could have wrote this right the first time, but didn't. So I don't know. It's just a lot. It's just a lot. That's just about it.
Yeah. I just wish that in theory, right, that the players should just be able to be athletes. And I think you touched on this a little bit. Why is it always on the players to be bigger than their organization?
I don't know. I don't know. I wish I could tell you. I wish I can tell you the answer right here, right now, but I can't, obviously. And so many people talk about like not bringing politics into sports, but this is like the platform. If we as athletes have that platform to speak on these problems, these situations, these injustices, we should be able to do so, right? And
right.
I absolutely agree that this goes back to the whole conversation that we had 2 weeks ago when we were talking about like, athletes get paid to be athletes, right? To go out there, perform, succeed, and win games. That's it. Right? So I absolutely agree that is the $1 million question. Why is it put on athletes to have to do the things that their organizations are supposed to be doing? I have no idea. I wish I could tell you, but
yeah, and it seems like there always has to be like a second chance for the initial reaction that an organization has.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like why? I know I keep asking like these rhetorical questions. Like there is no real answer for it, but why does there always have to be some buffer between like a player coming out about how she was treated and then having 1, 2, 3 different takes to get it right? It should be right on the nose the first time. We've especially with everything that's going on today. It should be fairly evident to the Houston Dash how they were supposed to respond in that situation. So
exactly.
I will say, however, for Sarah Gordon, I think it's important to uplift positive stories, and something that I looked into what she's done. And Sarah Gordon is more her ability as a player than what just transpired with the Houston Dash. Apparently, she last year created a GoFundMe to start up an app or an experience called Hoodspace, which essentially is like a parallel to Headspace. And I don't know if you've used that, but it's a meditation app. And so it is used to help girls of color find their space of flow through yoga, meditation, and sport. And he organized a GoFundMe that had a goal of $10,000, and it was reached. And it is used to, empower Black women through whatever stress they're going through, using something that maybe be tied too closely to white women. Like I think yoga is something that everybody can participate in, and it's not, I think it's really, really tremendous that Sarah has done that. So something good to come out of things.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think speaking on the things that she achieved away from the pitch as well too, the things that she's done. I think she's very much a leader, not amongst her team but in her community as well too. Because if I'm not mistaken, she is from Chicago. She's from the Chicago area. She grew up there.
And that's where Hoodspace is based.
Yeah, exactly. So it's so my thing is, this girl, she's, she is a big voice, and the fact that this occurred to her, this happened to her, it breaks my heart, and the fact that she got, the response to it was the response that she got. I can only imagine probably what her initial feeling and her initial thoughts were. Probably after reading that.
Absolutely. I'm sure she was stunned that it was happening in the first place.
100%. I think stunned is the perfect word for that. So, I just think that this whole situation is wild, and of course, like I used to play for Houston, and I've been in that stadium before. Not one. I mean, granted, this was clearly before COVID and what have you, but very rarely did you see security guards, kind of really engaging with people and whatever. And I get it. This is a different time. But the point of the matter is that what I'm saying is she wasn't the only person doing what she was doing, right? And there were several other people doing it as well too. And why weren't they approached about it? Yeah, well, I think we all know the reason why. But it's just, I think there's so much more to this this story than what probably the public knows, and I wish we can get more about, like, know more about it, and kind of really see what investigation the NWSL is really carrying out to really fix this problem.
I know, that's my thing. Like, I don't want to get too deep into what the NWSL is deciding to do, but I do think it's curious how they're asking clubs to hold off on any commentary before the investigation is complete. Why is it an issue for a club to come out in support of a Black player, regardless of what the result of the investigation is? There should be support for Sarah Gordon. She didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
Okay, so sure. If you want to say what she did wrong was break COVID protocol, then that has to apply to every single player in that stadium who broke the COVID protocol. Exactly. But that's not what it was about. So,
of course not. So I just, I don't know. It's, this whole thing is just it's just been it's been heavy on my mind. All week, and then aside from that situation, then you had the Portland and KC situation as well too, between Kristen Edmonds and Morgan Weaver, and I mean, I can't even get into that one, but
so I found out that Morgan Weaver had scored because of your tweet.
She scored. Like, the girl got a whole red card in the game, and then it got rescinded, and now she's allowed to play, and she scores the game winner. It is what it is, but in that situation as well too, like, I watched the game live. I stayed up hella late to watch that game because it was actually quite an exciting game, minus that whole debacle that happened. But then seeing the the stuff after the fact, and just looking at how what's what I'm looking for, like how I feel like how Kristen Edmonds was in a way portrayed. And how Morgan Weaver, and the thing was that it wasn't like Kristen Edmonds was in that altercation by her damn self, right?
Yeah, it was not one-sided in the slightest.
She was, and I watched the video back several times. I think I watched it back about 2 or 3 times. I even slowed it down just to see like what the heck even really happened, because I'm like, when you're in a corner and it gets crazy out there, I get that.
Yeah, there are like 4 people in the corner,
Yeah, I mean, but if you look closely, I mean, hands are wrapped around backs, and then if you really stop and play it, I personally think Morgan Weaver instigated the entire thing. If you look at her, she like looks at Kristen as if she wants to do something, and then it all pops up, and then she wants to play victim. I just don't get that, like, both girls, in my opinion, were involved in this. They should both be held accountable for their actions.
Yeah. I mean, in theory, right? Nobody should be fighting on the field.
Nobody should be fighting on the field.
Generally frowned upon.
Right. My thing is, like, I mean, I get where Kristen Edmonds is coming from. Like, I'm the same exact. I think any player is like that. If you feel like you feel provoked and somebody's coming for you, of course you're going to retaliate in some way, shape, or form, right? Like, Chris is not. You're not just going to roll over and be like, oh, like that's totally a-okay. Like, of course not.
Yeah. I will say, on maybe a flip side of thinking about it, that is sort of like the definition of the difference between men's and women's soccer sometimes, is that they didn't all just go rolling on the floor in the corner,
Exactly. Right. But
I mean, while it was not the best situation to happen, at least
right. Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. And then just to see the outcome of it and seeing Kristen get suspended once in the 2 games, and then Morgan got absolutely nothing, and I was just kind of like, but they were both involved with it. I mean, it wasn't like the homegirl was fighting a freaking ghost. I mean, there was a whole other human being there, So, I don't know. I'm done talking about the NWSL in this game. I am looking at the game tonight between Houston and OL Reign, though. I am
10 p.m.
10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central.
Yeah, all the times. All
the time. I'm giving it out for everybody that may not be on the East Coast or Central. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the game tonight, and and seeing how things play out, because this is OL Reign's first game of the season thus far, and so it'll be good to see. I'm really looking forward to seeing Ziara King ball out. I became a huge fan of hers during the first Challenge Cup. I thought she was
I am sort of interested to see what the Houston Dash will do, at least on the player side, especially after releasing that statement. So it'll be interesting to see if at the very least there is some regard to like what previously happened with Sarah Gordon. So
I guess we'll just have to tune in and see, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, moving on, right? That is that. So I know you wanted to touch base a little bit with what's going on in the country in regards to this bill that was just passed in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, also, again, I cannot apologize enough if my audio quality is not good. I don't really know what's happening, so I'm very sorry about it. Sorry, it says my Wi-Fi connection is unstable, so that might be it.
You sound great to me, so
yeah. I know the stream sounds great internally. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
So, in Florida, there was legislation passed that would prevent transgender youth from participating in the sport of their respective gender. And it's specifically targeting transgender girls, which is just absolutely deplorable to me. Specifically the language of the document and the way that the Florida Republicans have talked about these children, specifically using language calling them, biological males will not be playing in these sports. And it's just like, that is so off base and so uneducated. And it's just, it's so horribly frustrating. And part of the legislation is that if there's any question about the gender identity of the child in this sport, they can be subject to an examination, which is repulsive in every kind of way. And I think that it should be a general rule of thumb that the government shouldn't get to have any say over children's bodies. And because this is like touching back onto like, well, so it is the women's soccer world, and it's a sensitive subject about thinking, where do trans players get to be? I personally stand on the side that people are people, and it is, if they want to play, like, let them play. I don't understand why this is the biggest issue that that Republicans are tackling. They always seem to try and find the group that is most vulnerable and target them in any way possible. And it's happening by a landslide. I mean, from what I understand, 30 different states have started to put legislation in work that are going to actively harm children, which is just very, very upsetting. So I would like to touch on this a little bit further in the future when maybe I have better connection and better audio. But If you are in a state that you know is passing anti-transgender legislation, please reach out to your representatives. Please do whatever you can. At the very most, just think about what it means to like let the government decide who your children can and cannot be. And if that's something that you're concerned about, then I think it's worth a call. So that's my piece on that.
Harlie, very well done said. Very
Thank you.
I don't even know why. I don't know how I worded that so weirdly, but that was beautifully said. And
Thank you. It's something that I care very deeply about.
And you can tell it's very evident. And I think, like I told you before we hopped on the on the stream, that this is something that I personally need to go educate myself more on. But this is something where there really is no need for it. We have so many bigger issues going on in this country right now, and these children are not one of them. They are the farthest from our problems. If anything, they make this world a better place, right? So
absolutely, and this is also something we talked about. And legislation and bills like these, they do not last. They are very temporary in every way. I don't know how temporary. Maybe it'll take 10 years, 15 years, but I do know that it will disappear one day. But that does not mean that harm is not being actively done now. And it is on us to try and do everything that we can to protect these kids, because they are what we are going to rely on in the future. They are the future of this world, and to do anything that harms them is just absolutely deplorable to me. So.
Absolutely. No, you nailed it. And yeah, and I think you hit it right on the head in regards to, obviously the government, I think definitely does feed on, more than likely probably are not going to do anything crazy in return. But
right.
These kids are definitely our future. We depend on them. We are going to depend on them in some way, shape, or form as life goes on, and what they're dealing with already is super hard, and then to add this on to them, it's totally not fair. It's not fair.
Yeah, to tell them that they have no place.
Exactly. The thing is, and the crazy thing about it is, they have a place everywhere.
Exactly.
They will always, if I have a sports organization, they will always be welcomed in, in my organization. No ifs, ands, or a but about it. But it's just the ignorance of it all, and they're no different than us, Yeah, okay, the whole situation, they were born away, but they identify as somebody else. That's okay. All right. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Feel comfortable in your own skin. We always, we tell our kids that, we tell these young kids that all the time, feel comfortable with who you are. And if they feel comfortable as someone else, then they have every right to express that, without
absolutely
without any restrictions in any way. And you're not going to sit here and tell a child that if they aspire to be a professional soccer player or basketball player or track runner, are you seriously going to sit there and tell them that they can't participate in their sport because of this ignorance that's going on? No.
Right.
Like, what? How would you try? How would you like it if somebody told you that you couldn't do something because of X, Y, and Z? No, right? And that's one thing that I always harp on, with when I speak to younger kids and whatever, is I always tell them, don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't do something because of something else. And right now, I feel like my words are not. I'm not there. Those words are not true, because you have a bill like this being put into action, right? So. Absolutely. If this is happening, and it's happening in 30 states, it's over half America. So this is a huge problem, right? And obviously it's something that I think needs to be nipped quickly.
I would hope so.
We just got to get everybody on board with it, because come on now. There are so many bigger problems. We just had Dante Wright just lose his life to the hands of police brutality, right? We had a young kid in Chicago, 13 years old, lose his life to the hands of police brutality. We had a whole mass shooting happen overnight.
In Indianapolis.
8 people die. You're sitting here telling me that you're more worried about
children
than this stuff. Like,
right. And if you're so concerned about children, the incident in Chicago with that boy, right? That would not have happened if there was like proper support in place at every level to make sure that, that there was no ability for that police officer to take that boy's life, and also for the fact that is there some social structure, is there evidence of systemic racism, which has led to that boy being in a situation where he is impoverished and desperate. And I don't know the whole situation, but the fact that it occurred in the first place, and that there's nothing at all being done to change that from happening over and over and over again, it doesn't make sense to me.
That does not sit well with my spirit at all in the slightest bit.
Nope.
And I hate that we're even having a conversation like this in 2021. This is some 1940s BS. This is 2021. We should be more progressive. We should be more accepting. We should be more open-minded to different possibilities. Not this.
Absolutely.
Let's keep it traditional. Like, what makes the world what makes the world go around, in my opinion, is different, is unorthodox ways. Breaking tradition. Doing things different. I mean, that's how you evolve. That's how you get better. That's how you learn. That's how. It's just, I don't know. This whole country has a big problem. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I just, I think we should definitely have a more deeper conversation about it in the next couple of weeks, and really have let that be the topic of an episode, because
absolutely,
I just don't. It's not right. It never will be. And it's embarrassing. There's actually, it's heartbreaking. It really is. I don't even want to bring a child into the world right now, because if that was, my child and they're being held back because of this, I'll lose my mind, because it's breaking my child's heart. So yeah, I just
and that is, I mean, and the fact that all of this is going down like within 1 week, it just, what does the next week bring? I wish that the conversations that we could have could be more centered on just what a soccer ball is, and like, but that's not the case. There are important issues, and they're ever present, and they're long lasting, and as long as they are existing, we're going to do everything that we can to talk about them and bring those who are perhaps overshadowed to light, and that's the best that we can do.
Yep, I think that is it. We have the platform. Let's talk about it. Try to get as many people engaged with it. Having these conversations, because, like I said before in the beginning, like, in order to really see change, you need to have these conversations, right? Like, that was the whole point of, backtracking, Colin Kaepernick kneeling, right? It was to start a conversation about the social and racial injustices that are going on.
How far have we come from that,
I was back in 2017?
Yeah, where kneeling was the most egregious thing someone could do.
Okay, exactly. Yeah.
Insane. Yeah. Insane to me.
It's crazy. I don't know. I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired. This is exhausting. You know what? This feels exactly like 20. Well, you know what? 2020, I think was I think had a much more deeper mental effect on me personally. This year, I think I learned a lot from last year, so I'm trying to learn from those situations, especially seeing George Floyd die and everything that kind of transpired. I think and then on top of that, that was at the peak of the pandemic. So like all of that obviously was just like, right. This year, I'm like, I'm speaking up about it. F it. I don't care anymore, because there is no time to just sit back, relax in and watch other people, take a back to and watch other people try to do something. Like, I'm a Black woman in America, so I need to speak up, use my platform as much as possible, and really dive in deep with these conversations. And I will have them with as many freaking people as possible. But I get really tired mentally, because on top of seeing what's going on, then dealing with own personal things, it gets a bit after a while, right? But there's no rest for the wicked. I know for a fact that I got to keep pushing. I got to keep grinding it out and making sure that I keep having these conversations and making sure people are well aware and doing everything in our might to change this, because I don't want this life for my children at all.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we constantly just have to keep doing better so that, those who come after us will have, better fields to play on and better roads to walk on. I don't know.
Exactly.
I would like to end on something positive. So I think it's very important to always try and find something to keep us going for the next week and 2 weeks. So for me, I am looking forward to being able to play with my team, which is super exciting. I am also very excited that we might have our first full field game here in a couple weeks.
There we go.
Maybe. Yeah. So it'll be really great to have all the girls together and, actually see what we're capable of, because it's been more than a year almost. Well, I mean, we did play last summer, but it was just one game. It's been a while since we were able to be together as a proper group. And then for you, Satara, you also have a game coming up.
I do. We're heading to Fort Worth tomorrow, actually. We're playing a couple of preseason games. Shout out to FC Austin Elite. Let's go. We're heading up to Fort Worth tomorrow to take on, I wish I could tell you their name. I'm drawing a blank. But another preseason game. We had a game last weekend against the University of Texas club soccer team. And it was really good, meeting all the girls, actually getting a chance to be out there on an actual full-size field and kind of see how things are gelling. So I'm really looking forward to the season. I think it'll be, and now that we have the announcement of the whole schedule, it's now it's here, it's about to happen, so I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And so I think that's one thing that's keeping me going, just like you, ending off on a positive note, talking about the things that we're looking forward to doing. So yeah, so I'm really,
absolutely.
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to give my dog.
Oh, yes. This is also good.
Hold on. So this is JoJo. She's half
Hi, JoJo.
She tells us to have good vibes, dude. So yeah, I just woke her up, so I know she's not the happiest right now.
She's not feeling the tea.
Yeah, she's my homie though. Okay, I'm gonna put her down before she kills me.
She's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, she's very calm. She's cool, very cool.
Official representative of our cup of tea. And speaking of representatives and stuff, it is important that we thank those who support us, including anybody who listened to the stream tonight and had a difficult time hearing me. I'm so sorry. I would love to thank the Elite Soccer Network, who we are partnered with and support us in every way. The California Storm, FC Austin Elite, Unity FC, UWS, UWS2, the UWS Weekly Show, Reboot, and then everybody who listened today. So thank you for listening to us to talk about more than just women's soccer today, just things that were very, very important to us and we wanted to discuss.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you to everyone. And, as always, thank you for the support. Whether you're listening in now or you listen to us after the stream. And, we're always thankful for having this platform to speak on these things. That's one thing that Harlie and I love about this podcast, is to really just air out, any issues, all issues, but whether that's involving within women's soccer in general, or just in life, So, I hope everyone has a fabulous weekend, and Harlie, hope you have an awesome weekend as well too. And
thank you.
Yeah, and
I have picture day with my U10s tomorrow. So
there you go. Let's go. Best days ever. And we'll be back in a couple weeks, and hopefully it won't be as heavy, but we'll see.
We'll see.
And maybe anything is possible. So,
we actually should have some good news coming up in the next episode. So,
Yeah, let's hope so. So once again, thanks guys. And we will see you guys in a couple weeks. Peace.